customers have given us pre-orders when we unveiled the product in the beginning of the year. So, so the final payments, the full payment window for those customers, so that they can get on to eventually getting delivery of their vehicles. That full payment window opens on 31st of October, which is a few days from now. Shortly after that, a couple of weeks after that, sometime around Diwali is when we start deliveries of the vehicles, starting with the key cities and then following over the next few weeks after that. So that's the second date to look out for. Meanwhile, the test drives already are available in key cities, in the top cities, and we'll keep rolling out other cities as well. So Bombay, Ahmedabad, Pune, excuse me, in addition to Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, they all sort of start rolling out anytime. It's rolling out now. So consumers can actually go and take a test ride and really get a first-hand feel of the 450, excuse me, the 450X. So that's the third date. So test rides are live. Full payment window 31st of October. Deliveries around Diwali. Meanwhile, what we've done is we've decoupled the delivery and the sales process from opening of the experience centers. So experience centers, as you're aware, is our retail points. They start going live sometime December onwards. So between end November, early December, the new set of markets start going live for experience centers. And over the next couple of months after November, December, going all the way to Jan, Feb, and all markets will be live. So that's the next one. And meanwhile, we continue the process of setting up a charging infrastructure, public infrastructure. As we announced earlier, we're setting up about 135, 140 new charging points across all these markets, and they will be up by 31st of March. So the process continues. Every week we're adding more, and until 31st March, we'll be in about 170, 175 locations across all these cities. So those are the sort of bigger milestones to look forward to. These details will be published on the website, and we'll share them with you. And now we can move on to if there are any questions, any clarifications any one of you has. Ever since we started that, we don't really share sales numbers. Our bookings run into a few thousands that we already have in hand, but unfortunately, we don't share sales numbers.
If anyone else has other questions, please raise your hand and I will unmute you. I think someone else has asked a question if you'll be sharing the video with them. Yes, whoever's attended the event, we'll be sharing a copy of the video along with the press release with all of you. I think Jayesh has a question. I'm just going to unmute him. Jayesh, you're unmuted. You can unmute yourself and ask your question. Jayesh, can you hear me?
There are some hardware changes which have been made to reduce the price by approximately 10,000 rupees. So could you please explain how are you able to do this, and how different the 450 Plus and 450X will be now compared to what it was before?
See, the first thing to bear in mind is that there is nothing that's changed in the 450 Plus from what we announced in January. So the product has not undergone any change at all from a consumer spec perspective, right? Whether it's the speed, the acceleration, the gradability, ride experience, nothing has changed. It's the same product, except when we announced earlier. A bit of history, it was linked to the larger discussion around battery subscription and an option of moving between 450 Plus and 450X. I won't get into details now, but that business model, needed us to ensure that the vehicles are hardware-wise same. Now that we are not doing battery subscription, at least in the foreseeable future, there is no need for us to incur the extra cost of hardware, because we are not looking at switching between 450 Plus and 450X as a performance pack. I think there's a question already on that somewhere in the chat. So because they are different, so it was in some ways the 450 Plus from a hardware perspective was actually overspec to deliver the specs, the benefit that we were looking for. Now what we've done is we are taking cost out and speccing it to the real requirement, and therefore we are not altering the spec itself, but the extra flap that we had by way of hardware, we are removing that to ensure that we don't incur the extra cost. So
okay,
nothing changes.
Okay, nothing changes from the spec sheet which was released earlier in January.
Nothing at all.
So the motor outputs and all remain the same. Okay.
Zero change.
And yeah, okay. I just two quick questions. Okay, to build up on this. The first one is the battery pack capacity of the 450 plus and 450X the same? Like, is it the same 2.4 kilowatt hour battery which is available in the 450 plus?
No, the battery capacity
sorry, 2.9. I'm sorry, 2.9 kilowatt hour.
Yeah, so it's 2.7 and 2.9, so that's different.
Okay, so the 450 plus has a slightly smaller battery, 2.7 compared to. Okay, and also could you give us the actual range which is as per the rating in the Indian driving cycle for the 450 plus?
Yeah, so the tricycle ranges for the Plus and the X is 100 kilometers for the 450 Plus and 116 for the 450X.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mute a few more people. Arindam has asked a question about how has the pandemic changed course of India's EV journey and how is Ather responding to it?
I think from our perspective, really what the only material impact that we've seen of the pandemic is that everything that we wanted to do sort of got pushed out by about 3 months or so. So fortunately for us, the pandemic hasn't needed us to do any pivots or change any plans or make any big changes to what we were looking for. Essentially, factoring in the disruption in supply chain, the disruption we had on certain partners, and Tarun mentioned a bit about some of finance partners sort of looking at their plans. So what really it meant was to just reassess and absorb the delays caused by environmental situations around supply chain, etc. And that pushed our plans out by maybe 2 to 3 months or so. But from a plan perspective, if anything, it just allowed us to sort of reassess where we are and take a more aggressive view on the future. I'll give you an example, right? So when we announced the 450X early in the year, we said that we'll add about 8 new markets to the 2 existing markets that we present in, which is Bangalore and Chennai. Now, instead of adding 8 markets, we'll probably end up adding about 12 to 13 more markets, if not more, in this financial year itself. So what we really, basically the plan has become more aggressive, except that the timelines have moved, everything is moved by about 3 months. But the plans themselves have not changed.
Zaveri, what about the 450X Pro and Plus performance packs? I think this goes back to the battery subscription question.
Yeah, if this is indeed somebody remembers performance packs, we tried hard to forget them. So see, the performance pack, the concept of performance packs was linked to the battery subscription business model. Since the model itself has been pushed out by a year, then the Pro and Plus performance packs really don't have, they're not part of a plan. I mean, they don't exist anymore. At least till the subscription model comes back, whenever it comes back.
We have 2 questions from Guru Charan. I'll ask you the first one now. Can I use an existing 16 amp plug to charge the Ather? I already have an EV and would prefer to just keep one box.
So the charging solution for the Ather bike come with what you call the Ather Dot, the private pod that comes along with the vehicle, and the charging cable. It comes as an accessory, or at the time of purchase, you can choose to swap between the Ather Dot or the charging cable. So that charging cable, which is currently an accessory, can be plugged into any actual 6 ampere, 5 ampere, not even 60. We'll have a subscription option. Does it mean the Ather One subscription option? Is that the question? Because the lease ends in 3 years, right? So then either you return the bike or you keep the bike.
Bhushan, no, to have doubly clarified to everybody, we have decided to push out battery subscription. So essentially, you should see us as any other company. We are selling 2 scooters. We have 2 different models. One is priced at 139, one is priced at 159. Very simple, very clear. We realize that we would rather fight the battle of getting people to tell the story about what the product is, rather than telling people about a new business model of battery subscription. We don't want to fight 2 battles. So we're just doing one thing today. Those scooters are 139, 159. If you want convenience, you can take service subscription, data subscription. Otherwise, you can just pay on paper. Trust that distribution.
Yeah, that answers. Thank you.
I'll move on to the next question then. This is from Shankar. Um, he says that even though we've reduced the price of our vehicles are still high than the petrol vehicles. He wants to know if we have any plans to reduce the price.
We took a long, hard look at plus car pricing, and obviously, like if it allows us to, if we could have, we would have done more. But we figured 10K was the best we could reduce on that to make it a little bit more appropriately priced. But beyond this, I don't think the business model would be best paid. So today we are not looking at any further price reductions. Not any time in the first.
Okay, so the next question is from Girish. We see new models usually driving in.
Exactly look like. I would, but if I have to take a guess, I would say electric vehicle products will change rapidly because of technology change, as opposed to just market pressures. In the IC engine world, like today, if you're building a petrol scooter or a petrol bike, you just to keep the market excited, you have to bring in a facelift or a variant, some sort of a variant, every 6-12 months, or maybe every 18-24 months. Sorry. In the electric vehicle space, I think because of changing battery technology, changing charging technology, changing electronics, products will automatically keep getting refreshed, I would say every year, realistically. Same for us. I believe by 2022, battery packs should evolve more. There should be an opportunity for us to improve the range even further. Dashboards will improve, faster charging will come in. So I would say every 12 to 18 months, you should see technology going in up change. It's less competitive or market pressures. I think just this technology itself will drive a lot of change for the foreseeable future. Given that we are not building mobile phones, 6-month refreshes is not realistic. But I would say an 18-month period sounds like a reasonable period in which new changes can come.
The Plus and the 450X, the two models. So in addition to 450 Plus, the 450X, so that's two models. In terms of warranty, we provide a 3-year unlimited mileage warranty. So, and this unlimited mileage warranty is not just against manufacturing defects. It also guards you against battery capacity loss. So if in the unlikely case of your battery falling below 70% capacity, we will replace it. So this is a true warranty, not like a typical manufacturing warranty that only guards you against manufacturing defects and all that. So that's a 3-year warranty. Your question was around the mileage. So I'm assuming looking at the question is, I guess, around range per charge. If that's the question, then obviously it differs between 450 plus and 450X. So from an Indian drive cycle range, that's the range that we are certified for. The 450 plus per charge gives you 100 kilometers, and the 450X gives you 116 kilometers. However, we have a concept of true range. True range really simulates actual drive conditions that a customer is accustomed to, basis which what range they are likely to get, right? Which is a better reflection of the range that you're likely to get. And those numbers are for the 450 plus, you can go up to 70 kilometers, and the 450X, 85 kilometers. So I'll spend a minute on range because it's an important thing to clarify. Range numbers are what I just shared with you, but range depends a fair degree on how you ride. Despite the fact that our claim range is 100 and 160, there are people who got ranges of 120, 125, 130 even. So it really depends a lot on how you ride. But realistically speaking, if you're not overly fussed about how you're riding, you're just riding the way you would normally ride without thinking too much, you should get about 75, 80 kilometers of range either to 18 months. We'll probably end this financial year with about 15, 16 cities. And the moment you go beyond 15, 16 and the following financial year, we're looking at adding about maybe about 20, 25 on top of that cities, maybe 30. I mean, we haven't really decided that, but certainly an aggressive number. So the moment you're looking at over the next 18-month period, about 35, 40 cities by definition, you're on tier 2 and targeting tier 3 as well. So yes, we have aggressive plans, and we are looking at going beyond the top cities. So See, the the thing about leasing is essentially if your need is, if you're unsure of whether you want to own the vehicle beyond a point in time, if you're unsure of if you have a shorter replacement cycle than the average market, or you have constraints like, hey, I'm here in the city, I might be moving. So those drivers are what push people towards lease. If you fall in a bucket, or consumers that fall in the bucket with that need state, for them lease is always going to be a more attractive proposition. Now, specifically from a pandemic perspective, if there is a given by the larger economic situation and not necessarily the dynamics of the automobile industry, if there are people who are looking at not investing in capex or not investing upfront, looking at more flexibility in their purchases, I think for those consumers, lease makes eminent sense. To that extent, there could be slight uplift you might see in lease. It's too early for us because we really haven't, we haven't really hit the market with the new products yet to see what the trends are like. But sure, I think lease, but generally, even in the absence of the pandemic, I think lease as a model is something that we slowly see, inching up in terms of its contribution to the business. Because it gives customers flexibility, takes away hassles of service, gives predictability. And in the end, you always have an option of, owning it if you want to. So it really is a fairly attractive model. It's a model which, is very, very prevalent in the Western world. It's a little new here, so it'll take time for people to really get a head around how it all sort of pans out. But we see overall that, directionally speaking, it will become a larger part of our business than it currently is. 135 odd charging stations in the next 6 months, so 31st March, across all the new cities that we will go to. From a demand perspective, see, demand only kicks in cities where you already have vehicles. So, if you look at Bangalore or Chennai, where we've been present in the last couple of years, we already see pressure in some charging locations where people have wait times and people are saying, can you add one more charging point, charging in the same location? So we see demand going up as people's awareness of the public solution goes up and people's comfort with public charging goes up. In newer cities, honestly, demand is not a dynamic because we're not live yet. There aren't enough products out there. So I think the demand question will come to, as we enter the markets and as we start driving awareness and salience for these locations, as well as when there are vehicles in the field to create that demand. Right? Today there are no vehicles.
Swaraj, you've asked a question.
There's so much masala. We've decided to pause battery subscription. This is something we had announced in Jan. While we internally really love the plan and we think it really can help with mass EV adoption, given the pandemic, it's not been super easy to sort of onboard new partners for it because we need multiple partners to get battery subscription going, especially financing partners. The new policy that government announced, while it is positive, does not have all the details, so we can't launch with battery subscription today. We'll need a few months to sort of understand GST कैसे work करेगा, इसका second hand कैसे work करेगा, registration कैसे होगा, a lot of details. So we can't start it today, and we don't want to keep our customers waiting. Third, we also see that from a communication perspective, we want to rework a plan. We're still a new company, we're still a young company, so I think there's some duty for us to also go there. We want a communication that's clear, that's simple, and I think battery subscription was kind of failing at it. So we want to take some more time, rework the plan, come back with strong partners, maybe in a year's time. So that's the full announcement around battery subscription. So essentially, we now have two products. We don't have switching between different variants and all that stuff. We have two different products, 4P Plus, 4PX. One is priced at 139K ex-showroom, one is priced at 159K ex-showroom. Last 2 years since we began production, we've been working on a continuous program of localizing everything. So whether it is motors, whether it is we build our battery packs in-house. Ather today has one of the largest lithium-ion battery manufacturing capacities in the country. By end of this year, we'll have an installed capacity of almost 300 megawatt hour in our new plant in Hosur. So we build our batteries in-house. All electronics is manufactured in Chennai. Our charging points are manufactured in Hosur. Our frames, our panels, touch screens, everything is done in India. So our import reliance, direct import reliance is very, very limited. Having said that, the pandemic did disrupt the supply chain very significantly, and even after the unlocks began, it took many of our partners anywhere between 30 to 45 days to really come back to some sort of a normalcy. And then there was so much pent-up demand that it was just a mess for a while. But by the time that now we're launching, all of those effects are behind us. Our suppliers have been able to ramp up. And honestly, I would say we're feeling good about capacity. I think we're finally at a place where you won't see us making raising supply constraints as serious constraints. Fingers crossed.
Except the sales.
I'll move on to Rajiv's questions. So this is basically he wants more details on how we're managing buyback assurance, how we plan to implement it, if we're looking at third parties to partner with us to see it through.
So Rajiv, we haven't scoped it out to great degree of detail at this point in time. Obviously, when we're looking at a buyback kind of program, we are looking at some channel to absorb the vehicles that come back. Even though we don't think a lot of them will come back, but whatever number does come back, there has to be sort of a channel to look at that. So whether we do it ourselves, whether we look at third party providers to help, that is something that we're working on. Normally, you would want to work with partners for this one, but really it's quite early for us. That's still some time away, and we haven't really given it too much thought of this.
We think it's a concept that makes sense in very limited use cases. In use cases where people repeatedly do more than 150 kilometers a day, I think there it serves some purpose. But even that, I believe, is a short-term purpose. I think if you look at a 3 to 4 year time horizon, even in that use case where people are doing more than 100 kilometers a day, even their faster charging serves better. We can't work on so many concepts. We believe faster charging is the way forward for the entire industry. And at least for our consumers, and I think that's the only piece where we can have some confidence and authority. We believe for our consumers, faster charging works better. A swappable battery increases the vehicle's upfront cost, ironically, because the minute a battery has to be removable, a lot of integration costs rise up. And even though to the customer it may look like the cost is lower, the monthly cost will be substantially higher. Because now you have to run a swapping station, you have to take the infrastructure costs, There is not planning swappable batteries anytime in the next several years. Ravneet went and spoke to a news house, and very. I think since then we've been sort of clearing up the confusion. What Ravneet mentioned about one year back almost, or maybe start of the year, just before the pandemic, that sorry, I think this is 6 months back, just after the pandemic, Ravneet mentioned to somebody that hey, listen, we had big plans of exports and we really wanted to export, but given the pandemic, we have pushed it off for at least 1.5 years. But somehow the news came out that Acer is going to start exports, which is true, but we are going to start exports maybe 2 years from now. So it's really not an imminent timeline. We don't even know which market. There's been strong interest, and I mean, actually, you can talk about that. What kind of interest we have had?
Yeah. So I think when we launched, we got a lot of interest from different sort of markets for different reasons. So Southeast Asia was one cluster where this is a large market, but dominated by the Chinese. Then there is Europe, where which are very sort of fairly forward market when it comes to EV adoption, especially for smaller, tightly packed cities. Two-wheelers make a lot of sense along with public transport. So there's a lot of interest from there. And then there are other sort of market clusters in Latin America. So we've got a lot of inbound interest over the last couple of years or so, and we were at least for 3 or 4 markets, we were in fairly mature stages of discussion before the pandemic hit us. Now the pandemic is obviously thrown things off gear. Less for us, more for those players because they are reassessing their plans. So I think the export definitely will happen, but what would have happened in the next 12 months probably take 24 months.
Right. Ravneet, so we have the next question from Nehal. She's asking if the subsidies under FAME 2 are capped at rupees 150k for it.
That we mentioned, 159, 139 is post-subsidy.
Right. So we'll just move on to the next question. It's from Mayank. He's asking when do you plan to launch in Delhi and what is the update on exports? Also, there's a second part to his question, which is about the financial partners to offer the leasing and subscription options. Do we have any update on them?
So Delhi is scheduled for delivery sometime in November, early December timeframe. And there is a market we are super excited by, given the the very aggressive policy that the Delhi government has put out, so that makes the product super attractive. So that's the time frame we're looking at. The other question on exports, right?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, export as just mentioned, I think that's about 2 years away. Very much on the cards, but about in a 2 year time horizon, not before that. Then there was a question on lease partners, right? Who are the lease partners?
Yes, lease partners and the subscription options. Do we have any other financial partners to offer these?
The subscription is an Aether product. I'm not sure of the role of a partner there, but the lease product, our partner is Autoword, and they've been we partnered with them in the last 2 years. I mean, they've been there since we started. So they continue to be a lease partner. The lease plans are being provided by them. I'm not sure if is there a question I missed on subscription? I'm not sure I got that.
So it was about
More location in Chennai. But as of now, there is no plan to open a second one in Chennai because I think right now that suffices the business need that we have. As for other parts of Tamil Nadu, we are in active conversations with partners already in Coimbatore, and in different stages of discussion with other partners in other cities as well. So there is enough interest. And as I mentioned a little while back, when you're looking at entering about 35, 40 cities in the next 18 months or so, invariably a lot of them will fall in Tamil Nadu, given the size of the market and the attractions of the market. So Coimbatore is already on the plan for the next few months, and others will follow in the next few months.
And I expect by the December-Jan time frame, so literally we're discussing a few months, the December-Jan time frame, both products should be positive gross margins, which obviously increase contribution margins.
We just answered these questions.
right. Okay.
Just move down a bit if you can.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we have a fresh question from Priyadarshan. It's basically, is there a different price if you opt for both Connect and service packs together? Also, what's the caveat for labor and consumables covered for any issue in your service pack?
So there is no. You have to buy whether you buy individually or collectively. The price is the same. So there is the only difference is if you buy quarterly versus annual. But if you buy both packs together, it's really the cost of 2 packs. So no upside there. And the other one is around labor and consumables. All the as Arun mentioned, they are covered in other of the packs.
Can we just check what did we exactly put the star for? Was that star meant for something else?
But
While you take that, the intention was that whether it is a warranty issue, whether it is a scheduled servicing issue, or whether it is even an unscheduled servicing. Let's say like you went and had a fall and your plan need a bunch of change. The labor and that cost you don't have to worry about. Like that's all. That's all covered under it.
Okay, got it.
So I don't know if it's like a legal requirement to add an aspect. There could be some like border scenario in which we are not sure what will happen, but I will double check.